Okay, I'm here. We're alive. The day has started. Life is good. Hello, friends. It's good to see people here again on Discord and YouTube, ready to do the thing. Hi, Ego. I know it's not good morning there. It's like afternoon where you're at right now, but still, hi. Good morning. I am in a mood today, so before we even get too far, I want to go ahead and just toss that out there. Yes, hi, Freds. Will you say hi to all the Freds in chat? Oh, it's one of the best Freds. See, when Matt shows up, it's always gonna be a good day. Especially when I get memes after the stream. That's just fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna do the TCG framework again today, and I've realized what it was that I want to do with this after, funny enough, I was hanging out with Matt last night. No, it was the night before last night. Um, because we were looking at card games and we wanted to play a co-op card game, and Hearthstone was there, and it's a really cool game, and it's been out forever, and it's got a really big fan base, and I really enjoyed playing it. The problem is that my understanding is that outside of specific events, co-op games are not really a thing. It's either you versus the AI or you versus the player, and that just doesn't fill my unfortunately non-competitive niche, right? So one of the things that I want to do with this framework specifically as it gets built up is I want this to work for both player versus player and co-op specifically, where you can play solo or play with somebody else, and the AI will adjust to those play styles. That way you can do one-on-one matches still, but you can enjoy playing with somebody instead of against somebody. So it doesn't have to be a competition, but can be a cooperative goal instead when doing the deck building games. So I think that's what the end goal is going to be. Friendship is magic. Uh, yes. Ooh, Gosh, I want to tell this story so bad. Can I? Can I? I'm not sure how detailed I can get this with this story. Let's just say I have a couple of My Little Pony figurines that have been signed by some colonels uh, and things like that. Why? Because I can, and for some reason, a man being trusted to fly around a big tanker is, I don't know, the image is funny to me when I think about him signing a little pony for me and then leaving it at my doorstep. That was a good day. Imagine just opening your door after you get a text from somebody saying the pony's been delivered, and you just open your door and it's this itty bitty Pinkie Pie with a big old signature on it from some badass colonel. Good times. Good times. I have lots of weird mementos like that. That's been one of my favorite things about consulting and doing stuff with TTI, was just seeing a lot of the really human aspect of these people in these positions of power, like going to breakfast with somebody with a pilot, and instead of telling us, well, war stories about the Middle East, which we heard while we were there, that was not a surprise. But I think my favorite part was how he'd come to breakfast and he'd be so excited talking about how, because they chose this breakfast spot and they went there regularly, they got to meet Harrison Ford, and they were just so excited about that because he paid for their meals, and, you know, just that kind of thing. It's one of those things where you get to see people just fanboy, over like their childhood heroes and stuff like that, even though they're the people oftentimes where there are at least a segment of the younger generation that would greatly look up to these individuals. So it was always a really good time. Yeah, I really enjoyed those breakfasts. We just, it would be like Solvig, Adric, Foster, and a couple other individuals, and we would all go out and just relax, right? I mean, even the stories that were told about the less fun times were not necessarily about less fun times. It was about frustrations in communication and things like that, right? So they talk about details, obviously, because the last thing I want to do is go ahead and dox these individuals, right? Not because they've done anything wrong, but because I don't want them dealing with the weirdness of the internet. But I remember hearing stories about high priority targets being not missed, they were still obtained at the end, but where missions would essentially devolve because they'd be waiting for the go ahead from somebody back in the States who wasn't actually there and couldn't get a handle on what was going on because they were so high up and the communication just took too long. And a lot of those issues have been solved, but listening to those kind of things and being like, oh, I could have had this great mark on my career, I could have missed this, it's the little things that let you know about these people and the kind of stuff that they enjoy. Or, sometimes they get a hold of GPT and I have to tell them, oh no, you don't actually want to do anything with GPT if you're into cybersecurity because the conversations will leak. And they're like, oh, and then they're amazed. But then they also want to do the goofy things like, hey, GPT, can you tell my wife she's pretty? Like, those were the kind of conversations I remember some of these goons having uh, early on with the AI when it first came out. It was so much fun. These are just a bunch of people getting together on a Friday night, jamming and doing karaoke in the backyard with a fire pit, right? And that would be the kind of stuff we would do. I would go to where Solvig was, and all the consultants, we'd all get together and we'd start a fire in the backyard and pull out the karaoke machine. And man, you have not lived, and I genuinely mean it, you have not lived till you've seen some colonels do karaoke both very well and very poorly. And listening to an '06 sit there and bust out like full blown Eminem songs, the early Eminem songs. Oh my god. Those were some nights. And now I'm getting nostalgic, and I haven't actually done anything today, and we're like 10 minutes into this stream. Good times. Oh, speaking of which, before we actually get into anything super deep with the stream, I I messed up the last time we did this. So I don't know if you guys remember, but the last time we did the TCG stuff, we were running into an error and I couldn't figure out the error, and we were running it through GPT, and GPT was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna show you guys what the error was, and how good I am at this. I'm so good at this. Okay, let me pull up my SSH here. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys this. This is a great thing. Right here, this says load dex from XML is not defined. This right here, dex, right? That's important. DECKS. All right. Now, yeah, it's not load dex, it's load deck, as in plural and singular are two different things, and because I had the S on one line and not the other, this all got foobarred. This all got jacked up. I sat there for 30 minutes trying to figure out what was going on over a spelling error. So, that was last time. We did really good right up until that point. So Um, and also, yesterday I was giving that overview in pseudocode, and I made the very bold statement that 4 times 4 is 12. So today I'd just like to say that I can neither do the maths nor can I do the spelling. I my IQ is equivalent to, we'll say, GPT 2.0 at this point, because I am not really pulling out a lot of W's in the third grade education department today. But the good news is that now we move in to the favorite part for any coder. I solved that error, right? But now we have a new error. Yay! And it's probably because I also misspelled something here too. I'm really good at what I'm doing, I swear. And yes, story time is incredibly easy to trigger because I enjoy a good rant. I enjoy a good rant. I wish I had like a good story time about I don't know, some of the cool things I've done on bases and things like that, but they're not really cool things. I don't think going and walking my turtles out by a river on a base is a cool story. Let's see here. Maybe, there was one time where I got to see a jet do a barrel roll, while it was in air after it got done refueling. That was a pretty cool, like, little side quest. That's what I'm gonna call it. Have you ever won a spelling bee, Ellie? No. No. So I actually dropped out of a high school. If you want to be super technical, maybe. Oh no, I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. Here we go. Story time. So technically, I am a high school dropout. I don't have a diploma. Um, and so at best, I have a high school education. Yay! But my high school career was also really weird. The last time I physically stepped into a school would have been my first year of middle school. And I got pulled out at the start of the year there. So I really only had like my super early education in terms of public schools. And then after that, I was homeschooled, but homeschooling was really weird. And the reason I say that is because I don't know how many of you guys know this, but in the United States, there's not a lot of regulations on homeschooling. You can kind of just do whatever you want. And so I got set up with a charter school that was an online school at the time. And that was how I was being homeschooled, right? So I would stay home and I just log into my classes every day, right? And my parents would be expected to go ahead and keep an eye on my attendance and things like that. And then they'd be expected to go ahead and take me to state testing. And I did a lot of that, and I managed to make up for, oh, this is embarrassing. Between you guys and me and the walls and whoever ends up finding this, I got held back a year. I had to do summer school and I didn't do so well, and I got held back 1 year. But because I was in this program, I was supposed to be able to like jump forward a year, right? Make up for the missed education and move on with life. And it didn't work. I managed to go ahead and complete all of like the high school education requirements and stuff like that, and then I just never got a diploma. So the school ended up closing down, and I never got a diploma. So there's my high school education. I completed it, but there's no proof of it anywhere. And I have no way of telling anybody or any employer ever that I actually went to school. It's awesome. Homeschooling is is a trip in the United States. So if you've ever wondered why I'm really awkward and or good at talking to myself, it is because I spent a number of years alone, being responsible for my education by reading things online, because I'm so well regulated. That's what we'll go with. Woo! Yeah, I don't know. Homeschooling in the United States is really weird just because there's no oversight or anything like that. You can pretty much get away with everything. So it was super easy while I was in foster care and stuff like that to just dump me into like the online schools and things. And they just, I guess for the time frame that I did them, they just weren't very well maintained. I think a lot of those programs have really managed to pick up and they're like better accredited now, but it was a wild west of like online school days. And hey, Crusher, what's up, my dude? We're fixing errors because I know in about an hour and 15 minutes, I've got some stuff going on at Gray Matter where we're gonna be doing the same thing I'm doing now. Just I'm actually gonna be fixing code instead of sitting here and thinking that I'm so cool with my fucking story times. Yes, many errors today, Crusher. So we're working through them. I managed to fix one based on a spelling error, and now we're gonna try and fix this other one for our deck database not being defined. Yes, this is Crusher, and then there's my wife Jess. So, and then there's Ego, and Moon, and Matt, and Turtler, and there's too many people. Okay, so I had to put a placeholder here to find my conversation because I totally knew where it was. So, let's see here. Ended up being a misspelling of decks versus deck. And let's move on to the next error. The error, let's get at the code, and this error is coming out of our view deck at line 18. That's going to be this one right here, right? Const user deck equals deck database. Now it could be card database, deck database. No. So let's go ahead and define, well, I know I'm going to need GPT to define that properly, but I know that's what's missing is the definition here. So because it's not calling properly, we're not setting, we're not seeing the cards in the deck, but we've got pretty far so far. Oh yeah, wife Jess. I I don't know how else to put it. This is why I always tell people I'm sorry, but I don't do the romance thing online. It's because of Jess. My heart is taken. I'm sorry. She is best wife. Wish I could get a girlfriend. Oh. I don't know, man. There are a lot of days I'm grateful that I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff, and that's terrible. I'm probably just an introvert who likes being alone, but once you get to a point where you are comfy being alone, being with somebody is even better. That sounds. I You will get there. Crusher. I've got no doubt. Oh, I guess it would help if I let you guys see what was actually going on in GPT instead of just having my SSH block everything. I'm so smart. Nah, people say I'm blunt as hell. Well, there's a difference, quite frankly, between being blunt and being rude. You can be honest with somebody without, like, hurting their feelings. But you two are actually planning on engagement in the future, or oh, is this a running joke or something? Oh, Ego, I'm so sorry. How do I put this? Yeah, it's just a running joke. Jess is definitely like one of my best people, my best friends online, and I enjoy flirting with her and harassing her and things like that. There's a couple other people in here like that. Matt is also one of my really good buddies, but nobody would actually know that because he's probably the one person in the server who doesn't suffer from nepotism. so so he's like never gotten a special role. I've never introduced him to people. He's not like a mod or anything like that. He just sits around and shit posts all day. It's awesome. Don't be too hard on yourself, Crusher. You will get there. I got no doubt, my dude. Okay, let's see what we've got here and see if this is going to go ahead and help our problem. The error in your viewDeck.js suggests a mismatch between a variable name. From the snippet in deck database you provided, seems that your array is named deck and not deck database. Well, that certainly would do it, wouldn't it? Here we go. So let's take a look at that. Where is it? Alright, I know it's in here somewhere. Const card database. Oh, here we go. Load the current state from the XML. Yeah, that's what we need. Alright, this should be just slightly better. Let's try this. This is for the viewDeck.js file. Gracious. And that is just one function. Yes, module export. Yeah. We're not going to use that as a save to deck. This needs to be here. Oh, well, that's the wrong file. That would be the issue to start with. We're looking at the viewDeck.js, not the database.js. I'd like to apologize ahead of time, by the way. I've got like hella morning voices today, so it's just going to be tons of vocal fry. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and give this a restart and see if we can't actually get this command to function now. not Python. We're using JavaScript. I gotta use the node. On some level, I know what I'm doing. Probably none. Oh my god, ego. I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah, you're not wrong though. Some people are into very honest and blunt individuals. It's you will get there. You're also quite frankly super young and worried about, oh my god, not an error. We gotta return value. And my squirrel brain just immediately broke. Yeah, Crusher, seriously, I know it sucks hearing every time because the advice is always the same, but in truth it never helps until it actually helps. But it will come to you one day. Things will get better and you will find somebody who vibes with you on that level where you can be yourself unrestrained in every level and enjoy them for the same reasons, right? Loving somebody for their flaws is probably one of the best things. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that comment. Building relationships is not an easy thing. It's not. It's something that takes time and trial and error. And the worst part about relationships is you're gonna get it wrong every single time until you get it right. And that is both the fun and the horror of the journey, because it's either going to be the right one or it's going to be the wrong thing for a long-lasting relationship, and winding through those things to try and find what you do want, what you don't actually want through the experience of it all. It's a lot to deal with. And I'm getting too sappy this morning for where we're at. Let's see here. Where are we? I need to check out the SSH. Okay. So the good news is that now we're actually spitting out something for the deck. The bad news is that the deck is empty. Why is the deck empty? Because it can't find the fucking file. Why can't it find the file? Because it's mislabeled. Son of a whore. Okay. Alright. And what is this? This is on the view deck. Alright. Yeah, so this is not Dex. It's Dex XML and Card XML. Yep, right there, Deck XML. So that's going to be part of the problem. And the other thing is that they're listed as path, and you whore, it is definitely not path. So this is the path, because we've dealt with this particular error before. So I don't even need GPT to fix this. We can just go in and tell it to go fuck itself. There we go. I'm sorry, I have a mouth on me this morning, and I could only make it 5 minutes into the video before I started spouting off. There's no chill. It is what it is. Okay, properly labeled, deck, singular. Naming conventions are important. Now let's go ahead and try that again. Okay. The good thing is that we're actually getting somewhere today, as opposed to last week when I got stuck in an error for 30 minutes that was literally just a misspelling. So I feel like this is a great place to be at, because I am in you know, I'm super good and missed this little syntax piece here. And I missed it at the end too, because I can see it on the SSH. Damn it. Gets me every time. See, this is the only downside to code, is that code is obviously very specific. This is why I like where LLMs are heading with their pseudocode, because it's so much easier to implement, and it as long as the logic is there, right? Now, if all goes well, we should be able to actually see, still not a Python file, still a JavaScript file. If all goes well, now we should be able to see when we go over to this, we're going to add an elf card to our deck. And then we're going to take a look at our deck. This should display something. Your deck is empty. No. Why is the deck still empty? No. And there's no errors. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh hell. This is, if deck length equals 0, reply, your deck is empty. Well, I know the deck length should not equal 0. Yeah, you can go ahead and reload it, because we can see here, there's the card ID. Okay. What to do here? Well, this one's going to be a little bit problematic. I love it. I know, right? I love it. No cards for my deck. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this. So it's looking for the cards. It's saying it's empty. It's pulling it from the right space in the view deck, right? And I can confirm over in the deck XML that it's loaded. So what's happening is something is wrong with the deck contents, right? Retrieve and format each card in the deck. Look in the card database, find the card ID, and then format the card in an ASCII box. But we're not doing that proper. So what I'm going to do is, well, this is when I start funneling GPT things again. So let's go ahead and go back to here. It's worked so far. Changes were made to the view deck. It now kind of works. Kind of is the key term here. It only kind of works. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. How do we describe this problem? Well, we know it's connecting to the deck XML, right? Because we're not getting errors back. This script properly connects to the deck XML. It, however, does not retrieve proper contents like this. From the XML, which looks like this. There we go. So we've let it know what the current file looks like, what the XML database looks like, and we know that it is passing through the card database as well. But what I'm going to tell it, since this part is a lot of code, I'm going to let it focus on these two files. And then say, if you need to see the current card database .js, let me know, and we can send it. As well for context while we narrow down the error. Error. There we go. That's how we say that word. There we go. Look out for spelling errors. No, I will run full force into spelling errors every time. I'm really good at that. Reminded me, Izakai is selling stickers for $100. I'm sorry. What? I'm gonna go out on a limb and be irrationally angry for no reason. I'm sorry. What? I'm getting so fucking tired of these rug pull services. Look, AI is a great and novel tool, but everybody wants to come in and be like, oh, we can go ahead and offer the next greatest not safe for work thing. And then when they realize that no credit card providers wants to cater to them because of the bullshit kind of crowd that they bring in, it has nothing to do with them being not safe for work content. So no one's even gonna even hit me with that because as I've gone over with multiple individuals, OnlyFans exists in the US, adult toy companies exist in the US, and they all use the same credit card processing, right? So does the Hub and a bunch of other exclusive sites. So you can't tell me that it's the not safe for work content because it's not the not safe for work content. It's the fact that they cater to these crowds that want to go ahead and engage in the most egregious form of that content, and then the advertisers and the credit card companies don't want anything to do with that, and they don't want anything to do with that until they can go ahead and clean up their shit, quite frankly. But the problem is with the AI, a lot of the way that these places have them set up, where if you're using something like a modified llama model or something like that, you can go ahead and make it have these egregious outputs, but then how do you go ahead and fucking filter it? You don't, without invading the black box at that point because of what you've trained the model to do, and then you just dumb down the fucking model. Like, these companies are in a no-win scenario because of things that they want to cater to when they don't use GPT, and then when they do use GPT, they're just asking to be smacked in the mouth anyways, because again, it's the egregious content that they cater to. You know what the funny thing is about TTI? There's never been a time when our members have gotten banned for using the not safe for work clauses. There has never been a time when our users have been banned for participating in not safe for work chats with GPT. Why? Because all of our characters and the not safe for work prompt are all hard coded in so that you can't engage in egregious content with it. And as a result, because you're not being super egregious and you're not being super explicit, OAI doesn't give two fucks. And you know what? Quite frankly, that falls in line with what Altman was saying in front of Congress. If you go back and you watch that video, you will not find a hardline stance from Sam Altman before the United States Congress about how they don't allow not safe for work content. What he says is that they want to go ahead and clear out the most extreme use cases when it comes to things like that. They were very specific about that. That may not fall in line with company stance, but as we've seen over the last year, Altman's stance and GPT's stance as a company, they don't necessarily always align. But yeah, nobody to this day has gotten banned on our site for using the not safe for work clauses. And again, it's because they're not set up to be like super explicit, right? So you're not going to get tons of dirty words from it or anything like that. You're going to get all the implicative language, and it's still going to go through the scene, and it's still going to be as satisfying, but it's not going to be as like crude, right? So that's the thing. Generally, what ends up tripping the system is the crude content coupled with the egregious content. When you have both of those factors in at once, OAI flags your account. Their flags work on a percentage basis. Okay, so let's say that, like with our system, with TTI, you send through a total of 3 messages at once. It's because You've got the personality, the jailbreak, and the lore, right? So there's 3 messages that go through every time. If you have the word fuck written through all 3 of those messages, right? And that fuck is used in the context of explicit content, that means that you now have 3 flags in the system. But if you use something that is implicative and not explicit, right, you can still go through with those kinds of scenes, but you won't garner any flags because you're not using the egregious language coupled with the implicative language. So Jess, you're exactly right. It's more story than not safe for work. The bans are based off of a percentage. So if you flag for like 70 or 80% not safe for work, then your account gets banned because of the percentage of flags on it. And we know that this is the case because at one point OAI sent out a ban wave. Sorry, I shouldn't say a ban wave, but it was a ban wave, and then a bunch of other accounts got warned, right? So they sent out this wave of flags and warnings to people. And then weeks later, individuals who had never followed up on the account because they were worried about getting permanently banned ended up getting permanently banned. And the reason they got permanently banned is because that percentage marker never moved. They never had a lower percentage rate of flags attached to their account, and so they ended up getting banned. So yeah, it's all just a matter of flags and managing to balance the content so that it's not being totally obscene, right? I'm flabbergasted by how it didn't get hammered with the filter. I pissed it off. Yeah, as long as you're not, I don't know how to feel about some of those other services, like what you're talking about, Jess. I mean, those are a different thing altogether. I don't, So those ones don't, and the problem is again, it's working with or against OAI, right? There's also a lot of services that came before Jai, after Jai, and were inspired by them, and other people who don't work with OAI in this way. And what they do is they just make 20 bajillion burner accounts and wait for them to inevitably suffer the ban hammer. And on the back end, they're just rotating, in hotkey is like a fat kid sitting around eating Cheez-Its. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're just funneling in those keys and piling them on, and when one gets banned, it's not a problem because there's 20 million others just sitting in the back end waiting around. Yeah, so those sites have it a whole different way of approaching that. That thing that Cybot spat out was foul. Oh, yeah. So yeah, Psy is actually probably. Oh man, like don't get me wrong. I know novel AI is spicy, but oh my god, character AI. I'd say before the filter went in, but even after the filter went in, because it's why the filter is there. That's just, yeah. Psy has always been really good at that kind of stuff, which is why I still find it funny considering who the site is marketed towards. Okay. Okay. Now, I was actually looking at trying to fix things, and I did even get, oh look, here we go, load deck from XML function, database.js. I should maybe actually work on this. That's the deck database, right? It is. I'm so smart. Okay. And load deck. This is just the load deck from XML function. All right. Let's go ahead and rewrite this. And check out and see if we can't pull up fucking Legolas from the database finally. Bye, Crusher. Enjoy your meal and such. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I know you're busy as hell. Okie dokie, let's go change stuff in the SSH and check out our deck again. It is, oh yeah, I got that right that time. It is the node. Okie dokie. So for the millionth time, I'm going to go ahead and add this little twink archer. And then maybe, God damn it. The deck is still empty. So why is the deck still empty? This would probably be something good for us to go ahead and tackle with the gray matter stuff, but it should just be populating from the XML, which actively, again, has a card ID in it. I mean, can't play a card game without cards in your deck, right? Okay, let's see here. So, let's go ahead and, oh man, somebody's sending me messages. I'll have to look at that later. Okay. Load deck from XML. We are actively loading the deck XML, which is great because that's spelled right. If deck length equals 0, your deck is empty. So, retrieve and format each card in the deck by card ID. Let's make sure that matches up. Yep, that's card ID. Okay. Send the deck contents as a reply. You know. That's just not doing it. So, okay. I'm trying to think of what to do because we have other stuff that works similarly to this that also works, right? Like our view cards work. So what if I'm going to send it through like this. Okay, let's try it like this. Wait, did I have the wrong thing open? I have two of these open. I'm confusing myself already today. This is not a good day for me. Okay. I had the wrong file open, I think. I'm so confused. What have I done? That's the view deck. Nope. I think that's the wrong thing. We're on this. We're definitely on here. We're on the deck database. Load from XML, but I already did all of that. Okay. Where's the... Whatever. Okay. I swear, I'm not confusing myself. You're confusing myself. Okay, so we're not seeing no valid card IDs found in the XML, right? That's not a thing that's happening. We're not having a problem parsing the XML. We're saving it properly. I think our deck database is actually working the way it's supposed to. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and reopen our view deck. Let's take a look here. So what I'm going to do is tell it that still doesn't appear to be working. please take a look at our view-deck.js. Compare it to our, now we have another view, right? This is our card.js. This one does work. Compare it to our view card.js and see if you can find a reason why why the deck doesn't work, but the cards do. I'm gonna go ahead and let it see if it can learn anything by comparing and contrasting these two things. Now, I could sit here and I could go ahead and go over them in terms of identifying their differences and rewriting them, but I would really prefer not to spend 40 minutes doing that. Guess I gotta play the Delulu TCG version pretending to have cards in your deck. Oh man, that would be awesome. Who needs to fix stuff and have actual cards when you can pretend to have stuff? Yes, that's what we're gonna do. We're all gonna be sitting around with pennies pretending to play fucking Tiddlywinks, the trading card game. It's just gonna be us clinking stuff on the screen. It'll be awesome. I have no idea where I was going with that, but if you want, I can go ahead and take some pieces of paper and draw some doodles on them and put some numbers on them, and then we might actually have cards to play with at the end of the day. Oh boy, it really is going ham. What did you have to rewrite so fucking hard for this? Oh, it's our entire view-deck.js. Okay, cool. It just went ahead and restructured this, which I am not opposed to, okay? It can go ahead and do that. Let's see here. This is view cards. There we go. Right? Whoop. Nope. That's the wrong file. That's the right file. Here we go. Yeah, that'll do it. So I guess my biggest thing is once we go ahead and get this done, we should be in a much better space for letting people handle things like setting up the dungeon and other stuff in gray matter. I just want to get things working at a point where they can kind of see what's going on and then make the edits from there. Unfortunately, I do not have the skills to be doing a lot of that, but it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna try. Okie dokie, we got the bot reset. Put down my credit card to summon Exodia? Isn't that literally how it used to go though, way back in the day when those cards first came into popularity? I remembered all the older kids having them at school and stuff like that. Oh man, that shit was so cool. They had these little Yu-Gi-Oh games, the little tokens and things like that you could go ahead and play with too. I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh was crazy. I think it's crazier now than it was back in the day though. I have no idea what's going on with that anymore. Once the show started to have motorcycles and stuff in it, I stopped really understanding what was going on and just kind of pieced out. It was probably one of my last experiences with anime before I started watching it with Jess again. Okay. Bot. Adding elf and viewing deck. Let's go ahead and run these commands again. We went ahead and added our elf and that's not what I was looking for. That's not any better. Is it? Is that better? Gracious. So now I can't tell if it's actually pulling anything, which is okay because I could go ahead and install a console log and then I need to go ahead and tell it how to display that stuff, right? Let's go ahead and start by having it give us some console logs first. And I'm going to have it populate the entire script with console logs. I can see it trying to post a deck, but I can't see anything in it. Please pepper this entire script with console logs. Send back info so I can see where things are going wrong. Okie dokie. My elementary had banned Pokemon cards while I was still a first and second grader because everybody was trading them on campus like crazy. And after the kids started to trade them at school in secret as if it were a black market, oh, but those were the days, right? But I can understand, man, you're growing old and are an adult when you go, oh yeah, but I can kind of side with those teachers because I don't know about you, but I remember kids with Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, man, trading was ruthless back in the day. You always had that one kid in your school who was just like the fucking grifter and would make you feel like that Pokemon card he gave you, that Japanese Poliwhirl, it was totally worth that Charizard card that you had, and you needed to give it to him right now. I don't speak from experience or anything like that. No, that's not the case. Yeah, kids were feral with cards, the Pokemon cards, and now it's the adults. Like, people getting kicked out of fucking Target, and there are like local game shops and stores and stuff like that that say they won't carry them anymore because now it's the adults that are going just buck fucking wild over them. I don't know what happened. People just never lost the Pokemon craze. Oh, so I had family over this week. This reminds me. I had family over yesterday, and today, we were busting out like the home movies and things like that, and they were looking at Christmas videos of their dad when he was like 8 years old or whatever. And they're like, oh my god, he still does that. And oh my lord, he still does this. It was so funny because even though they were seeing him as a child, it was still the same person, right? We don't grow up. We just get older. I was doing something. Oh right. I was employing boatloads of console logs. I'm sorry, my brain just kind of short-circuited there. I was employing all of the console logs. We were saving it, and then we were running it to see what was going wrong and why I still can't see my deck. Restart the bot, kick up Discord, and try this again. Woo! I'm so good at this. Here we go. Okay, we've added the card to the deck. So help me God, you're gonna let me view the deck. Yeah, alright, let's take a look at that SSH. Ah, well, I think we're seeing part of the problem. Okay. So here we go. It is viewing the cards, see? Right here, parsing deck XML data, deck parse result, deck card ID, ELF1003, processing deck contents, looking for card ID, it's undefined, card ID not found in database, sending back contents in reply. Okay, so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on here, but you know what is going to be the most helpful? Sending this log back to GPT, and I should get fairly accurate read of where we are going from here on this one. It's definitely an issue with the way that it's reading the ID. Once it reads the ID proper and is able to funnel it back, we shouldn't have any issues. Now, I do want to give GPT a little bit more information here because how should I do this? So here's the thing. If we list this in full with ASCII art, right? What we're doing is we're eventually going to be asking it to post like 20 different cards all at once when it's viewing the deck. And that's just going to be too much for Discord's character limit. So I think what we're going to have to do is have it just post them by the IDs, but it needs to be able to fetch all of the data. Or does it? Is it just the cards in your hand that need to fetch the data? It might just be the cards in your hand that need to fetch the data because we're just pulling the IDs from the deck and we don't necessarily need to worry about what those cards are doing until they're in our hand or are coming into play. I would think. For now. Yeah, let's do it like that for now. I feel like we can always come back and fix that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it, hey, we need our view deck to send us the IDs of all cards in our deck. In this case, it should have sent 1003. And then just as a reminder, I'm going to go ahead and send it our current view deck script once more so it can get a good read on what it needs to change here. But oh my gosh, Jess, I don't even know what to tell you. You and Matt specifically are terrible about that, but it's so true. It's so true. Okay, so now I get to tell you guys this terrible story. Okay, so one day I was trying to get onto into a military base. And I don't know if you know this, right? But sometimes you can get passes and stuff like that if you don't have a military ID with like privileges and permissions and stuff like that to get into a military base. Well, let's just say I didn't have either of those things on those days, and I went to go apologize to security forces because they were going to have to run a background check on me using my social security number, and I already knew it was going to be a pain, but I had to get on a base, so I'm apologizing to them and stuff like that and explaining the situation, and dude just dead ass looks at me and goes, can't you just go back to base housing or call your parents and have them vouch for you? I'm like, no, I can't call my parents over in base housing so they can go grab me my paperwork to get me onto base. And then they wanted to know why I was out of school early. And then I had to explain to them that, sir, no, I apologize. I'm actually a full-grown ass adult and I am just a moron who forgot their paperwork. It's a good time, good time. And unfortunately, stuff like that happens all the time. Now in real life, the best part is I am tattooed to hell and back. So I don't know anymore how people confuse me for a child because I have an ungodly amount of ink in my skin. Let's see here. Are you gonna go ahead and fix things? Processing the deck contents. Here we go. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I got distracted. The cats are doing like flips and stuff outside. They're really excited because it's warming up just a little bit. We had that snowstorm, so it's not like they've been confined, but they've wanted to be in. So now they're all excited. Ah, yes, the heavily tattooed 12-year-old. You know how it goes, right? Kids these days, they just be wild. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I don't share any pictures with you guys is because my tattoos are all really super identifiable. Because I've got like hand tattoos and stuff like that, right? So I've I think Jess has seen them. Jess has seen my job stoppers, right? So unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately I am like that I am that goofy ass who decided that not only was not having my high school diploma gonna be a good idea, but also having tattoos on my hands would be great. I would have so much luck in my career field because of it. I'm so fucking smart. Um, Okay, yeah. No, you're fine, Ego. Oh, I can tell you a story about this though. Okay, so here's the reason why I have to be funny about this. So Solvig, right? Bless their soul. At one point there was one dude who, if he ever comes across this, I'm not naming you because I'm being kind right now and I don't want to like shame you. I'm just telling a funny story. So if you come across this for some reason, please keep it in your pants and keep it out of my DMs. I don't care. Anyways, there was this dude who is not in the server anymore. He has been banned, but he for the longest time had a stick up his ass about guessing who Solvig was in real life based on the information presented in game. And the amount of profiles of like 1-star generals and stuff like that of females in the Air Force I was sent was crazy. Of, well, it can only be this many people. Well, it has to be either X and X. And I'm going to go ahead and take a guess and say that this is who that person is. Like, sure, you can go ahead and do that, but one, why the fuck would I ever confirm anything like that to you? Two, P.S. You were wrong about all of them. Way to go. That was funny. I did have a really good giggle about that because none of them were even close. But three, you exemplify the reason when you do things like that as to why not only I, but a lot of the other consultants want to remain anonymous. And it has nothing to do with, okay, maybe it has something partly to do with being sent things like bunny girl cafe versions of Belladine. Okay, that might be part of the reason, but the majority of the reason is just cuz people go wild, right? They go ham and they're like, "Oh man, this is a real person. Let me go ahead and just do this thing and poke them because I can." No. No, you cannot. Yeah, people are weird about that. They waste their time on the strangest things, right? Like, I don't know, why can't we just enjoy the game for what it is and the consultants for the stuff that they were willing to go ahead and toss around while my parent company at the time was allowing them to do so. Not allowing them, but giving me the funds so that they could do so. That sounds better. Right? I'm still friends with some of the consultants, but the group isn't as big anymore since TTI became independent because I don't have the ability to pay these guys, right? So the consultants that still work for me now are essentially just my friends, right? So they're the people that I hang out with now on a regular basis outside of work and stuff. So I still hang out with Solvig a lot, and I do hang out with Hoster and Adric very occasionally, but I haven't seen Guthrie in a really long time, but he is really good for just like vanishing off the face of the earth whenever he's doing anything dumb, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up popping up over the next couple of years. Okay, where was I? We were doing a thing. we were trying to change IDs, right? And how this was reading stuff. And I was looking at the code, and we said we wanted it to list all of the IDs in the deck. So we're looking for retrieve and format each card in the deck. Retrieve and format each card in the deck. Where is it? Retrieve and format. Here we go. Right there. Oh, god damn, does that look ugly? I'll have to fix that later. See, this is how code starts to look gross. Like, it's not that this is wrong, okay? It's just, it's not pretty, and I don't like it. Okay, trying this again. Node app.js, and we'll just boot over to Discord here. And now, I swear to you, if we don't get an ID out of this, I'm gonna do like one of those weird Elmo flails. It's just gonna be all arms, wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing tube Eladine. Oh fuck yes, there we go. Oh my god. Ah, good lord. How long did that take? Been here for over an hour just trying to fix this one issue with reading cards in the database. But hey, we can do it now. It's a thing. So now we can create cards. We can view the cards in our database. We can add cards from the database into our deck, and we can view our fucking deck. Holy shit, my mind is blown. Okay. I have to take a second because this is where I wanted to be last week. I wanted to end last week's stream at this spot, but here we are today. Hour and a half in things. Okay. So where do we go from here? We have to go ahead and manage the player's hand. That's probably the next thing. And there has to be fancy rules on that one, like that there's only so many cards allowed in the hand at any one time. But hey, we did it. It now shows us a card. God damn it. And it works over on Discord too. See, we even get that nice format. I didn't show you guys that because I had fucking PowerShell up. I'm so smart. Okay, well, I wasn't trying to have it show the full card, but I guess it is, and that's okay for now. Eventually we're going to get into a point where we're going to hit the Discord limit, and we're going to have to reformat that so that it's just showing us, like, the name or something. Yeah, you can go ahead and... Sure. Okay. So now where do we go from here? Well, now we have to go ahead and make something to handle the hand, right? And we can basically clone this and have it be and change the names, right? Instead of deck, it's hand, and then we just implement a new rule onto that. So let's just start by prompting GPT to go ahead and make a viewhand.js. Now please create a new viewhand.js. This file should accomplish the same thing. Ooh, I cannot spell that word. There we go. Accomplish. Oh, I missed a C in it, that's why. Okay. As the view deck.js, the only difference is be reading the hand.xml. Right? Yeah, show me that code in full. Okay, so we're going to need to make a couple new files here. I'm going to need to make the hand XML. We'll just save that real fast, and that's going to go not into our commands, that's going to go into our database, right? So this is going to be hand.xml, and now we're going to have a place to go ahead and store the cards that are in our deck in our hand. So we've got all of the cards in the game, all of the cards in the deck, and then all of the cards in our hand. Then we're going to have our viewHand.js. Let's go ahead and save that. That one needs to go into the commands. Bye, Ego. You have a good day doing the rest of the school stuffs. And what did I say this was going to be? It's viewHand.js. All right, something super simple. I'm going to wrap this up here in the next 15 minutes anyways, because I've got to go ahead and get stuff started for Gray Matter so that they can work on this. And the goal for me with that is just to have it so that the format for the cards, the ID system for the cards, those things are all working properly, and then just people can sort of build on those things from there. That way no one's having to worry about this database management or updates or anything funky like that. They can just get into the fun meat and potatoes of development. I want them to be able to enjoy those kinds of things. Let's go ahead and take a look at what our viewHand.js looks like. So we've got the cards and the constant hand file path, which is going to be for the hand XML. That's correct. Cards plural is correct. Let's go ahead and give this one a shot. We're going to need to go ahead and make an add to hand function as well, right? So we had an add to deck function, and now we need to have an add to hand. But again, we can pretty much clone that. So I'm going to go back and look for our, where are you? Add to deck.js. Great. So now I'm going to have it do the same thing. Great. Now take this file and make it a add to hand command. There we go. And for our add to hand.js. And this should have one change on it. There should be a rule that caps the amount of cards in the hand at any time to 5 total cards. We'll make that easy for now. We'll probably expand on it later. A nice hand size for a card game at maximum is probably going to be closer to 9. But for now, 5 is going to give us something manageable for us to go ahead and look at. And at least with these hard-coded commands, people will be able to see not only how cards are added, but how we can go ahead and sort of move those commands along later in terms of automation or having a button clicked or something like that for them to go ahead and leverage versus all of these manual inputs, right? I think putting something like this on a nice little visual interface would be really neat in Discord. But on the bright side, for an hour and a half, I'd say we made some pretty good progress this stream. I managed to figure out the spelling error that we had that was keeping us from seeing our deck. And then we managed to solve the ID error that was keeping the deck from populating. And now we're on to building things for the hand. So overall, not the worst day, but certainly could have been better in terms of me managing some of these errors and getting sidetracked with story times. So it looks like it wants to go ahead and give me an additional script for this. I'm interested to see what this is going to be. So we've got the hand, that's the hand XML. I need the view hand.js. Here we go. Well, I need the add to hand. I promise. I kept track of exactly what file I was looking at. Alright, we're going to need the add to hand, not view hand. Those are two different things. I haven't made that one yet, have I? I have not. Okay. That would be the problem. Because view hand and add to hand are different. Alright. Pop that in here. And save that. That's going to be our add to hand.js. Now what is it wanting to do with this hidden file right here? This script assumes the existence of load hand from XML and save hand to XML functions, similar to their deck components in the hand database.js. You'll need to create a hand database.js similar to deck database. Right. It should have the hand array and any functions to load. Do I have that? I've got... Oh, I don't have a hand database. Wow, GPT is right about this. Okay, so we need one more file here to go ahead and create the database for our hands. Ah, how right you are. Okay, fuck. Where is it? Let's go ahead and use the deck database as reference here. Using the deck database, please create the database.js hand database.js. And that should go ahead and give us a comprehensive file there. Now, I am sure you have noticed, if you've been in this stream particular for building this, that the deck, the hand, and the overall amount of cards each have their own database manager, their own way to view it, and their own way to add things to it. All of those things have to happen and have to function within each other, right? You have to be able to use items from the card database to populate the hand, to populate the deck, to move around fluidly, right? And that's essentially what we're making now. And that is what's going to allow people to come in and say, oh, well, I want to go ahead and make cards with an attack command, or I want to go ahead and change the value of this, or I want to go ahead and make it so that there is an energy component to play cards. I want to go ahead and make the item database, different things like that, right? So let's take a look at what this one is. And that's going to be our hand database. We can go ahead and implement this right here. Save that. Save as hand database.js. That's in our database already. Yes. Save that there. And that should be enough for us to go ahead and boot up the bot. So let's switch you guys over to the SS. Oh, you're still on the SSH. Oops. Okay, my bad. All right, well, let's just go ahead and run this one last time and see if we can't get through this sequence of commands. So we've got view deck, view hand, view cards, add to deck, add to hand, and create card. So now we should just be able to go in and add a card to our hand. We shouldn't need to actually add it to the deck. Now we'll implement that logic later. But for now, we just want to make sure that the hand logic works. So we've added a card to the hand. Awesome. And now we want to view hand. And there we go. So our hand is populating properly. That is great. So this overall did not end up being nearly as extensive, obviously, as building the last one, because it was pretty much just a duplicate. So now we've got decks, cards, and hands handled. Next will come the other three components, and ideally I can get some help out of gray matter for this one. That's going to be for the dungeons, the items, and the magical components. And once those three things are handled in conjunction with what we've just done, you've essentially made the entire framework for the game. So I could, over the next couple of days, continue to populate that. Worst case scenario, we'll probably just have like a week of streaming where I do nothing but knock out Ari's bot mechanics so that we can actually start playing with cards and decks and building dungeons and stuff like that. But this seems like a good place to drop off. I got about 5 minutes till my gray matter event, and I'm going to go ahead and get all of their files updated so they have a comprehensive look at what this is. So thank you guys. It's been great, and I will see all of you Freds later. Bye.